pour to the cup. Pressure. You know, sometimes you just have honey drops. It's just drops of like what's on your heart that's coming through from the divine. And yeah, if you're like, oh my gosh, I have to say a prayer and put the container, please.
Yes. Okay, so today I am praying that our minds are open for the knowledge and our hearts are open for the wisdom, because knowledge informs, but wisdom instructs. So may we have the energy and the passion in our hearts to actually take action on the knowledge that we receive. That is my prayer.
Yeah, that's like the most important part. Guys, here comes Monica. So if you have any questions, put it in the chat box. We'll ask her anything you guys want along the way. Remember, I'm recording. This will turn into a YouTube. Don't ask a question you don't want the world to know about. Hello, Monica. We're so excited.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is so amazing to be here with all of you beautiful souls. Thank you so much for your time and energy. This is amazing.
There are some incredible, the emotion are coming to my eyes. Because I know each of you so well, that I know what's in your heart. And I'm feeling it. I'm just so blessed that we're here in a sister circle and that I get to see so many of you so much. And you hold all of me as we hold each other. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Woo! Oh, Monica, since the moment I met her, I've been waiting for this moment. It's one of the first things I think I said to her about like 3 minutes in. Hey, I need you in this. Monica's on all sorts of new ventures and things that she's doing with her clients and in the world. But when I first met her, her specialty was helping empaths. I was like, oh, that's all of us. Not absorb what isn't ours and what's not serving us. And she's going to drop wisdom nuggets. She's a big God follower. We're going to activate us with the dance session. I have a song picked out, but Monica, do you have one?
I would love to hear what you picked out.
All right. Mine is tribal.
Many
of you have done this with me. Everybody's like, yeah, we know the Sara dance. Okay. I'm going to share it on my screen, but at any point, if you guys are like, this is cutting out, thumbs down it, and I'll put it on my Google speaker. This is recording right now. So we're going to, should you guys want me to not record us dancing and then start the recording after?
If anybody's not comfortable, they can always just turn off their cameras so that it doesn't interfere with anything.
Okay, awesome. I love permission. And okay, I'm going to do quick seconds of each song because we only have Monica for so long. Song number 1. Anybody want to tell what this is? Who's done this with me before? Janelle's like, I know this one on mute. Okay. First one is letting go. I want you guys to shake. I want you to howl. I want you to bark. I want you to jump up and down. I want you to like let go of what isn't serving you. Like you guys know the first time I did this, I started crying. I had all sorts of going through divorce. Number 2 song is pulling in what you desire. Like get it in, feel it in your heart, lock it in. And number 3, just for a few seconds, we're going to breathe. I love Rachel says, bring it in. Yes. Oh, I got chats going. I didn't even see. Yeah. All right. So 3rd, we're just breathing it in because that's integration. We're locking it into our body. And I just really invite you guys on the first one, especially get crazy, let it out. Cause that's how we move that energy. All right. Okay. Thumbs up it. chord. Moving to 2. Last few seconds. Out. Any doubt. You lack of worthiness. Bye-bye. All right. Feeling it? What are you calling in? Pull it in. Own it, because it's your birthright. We're going live on Facebook. Pull it in. What do you desire? Few more seconds. Get it. Moving. Feel it in your heart before we go to integration. You should get some laughter. Yes. Well done, my love. All right, I just invite you to put your hand on your heart, wherever you need it. Breathe, feeling what you just called in and what you let go of. I love practicing gratitude all throughout the day and invoking God to be in my life. Saying thank you for what you know is coming. Thank you for what is here. One last deep breath. All right. Wow. It's so good. Anybody else sweating? All right, Monica is going to take over. The chat is going. Please put anything in there. Please record. We got it. We're recording. Monica, please
Woo!
take over the show. I'll kind of be co-captaining with you.
Amazing.
Alexa, can you take amazing notes? Because I don't see Alejandro or Janelle. And Monica, I'm going to make you the host or co-host. Uh-oh. Okay, everybody hold on. My internet is unstable.
We rocked
Stay
it too
with me.
hard. I always say when the energy is this high, technology can't hold us. But we got this. So much fun. That was so amazing. I love all those songs too. Epic. So much fun. It's so good to be with all of you, and it's so beautiful to see some familiar faces in the space. So it's nice to see you again. And if we haven't met yet, I'm just super excited to spend time with you and honored, honestly, that you trust Sara enough to trust me. So thank you so much for your time and attention, because it's priceless. It's worth so much. So I don't take that lightly, and I'm just super grateful to spend time with you. Here she comes, back in the pocket.
You here? Do we got you?
You're back. Yes. Okay, amazing. Awesome sauce.
Yay. Okay, wait, let me make you
Cool.
spotlighted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so first, a little about your magic, what brought you into it, what it is, and then we're going to start playing.
Of course. Yeah, so like many of us, I started on the journey for, honestly, myself. I was looking for something more, something bigger. And then once I found how the subconscious mind worked, I just hit the ground running. And I've been in the subconscious mind space for about 10 years. And then with that, I've always been spiritual. And so I've really bridged a lot of the things that I was learning with my spiritual practices with how the mind works, and come to find out the universe, the mind is literally exactly the same. And so it fascinated me. And what I'm really here for is just inspiring and speaking into everyone living a heart-led life, because truly when we operate from this place, I know you all know it, things become so magical and better than we can imagine, like better than what we put on our vision board. Like what God has in store for us is so much bigger than even our human mind. When we're thinking very big, God is still like, nah, bigger. And when we follow this intuition, when we follow this heartbeat of ours, it really leads us to the best places with the best people. And I know you know that, because you wouldn't be here if you didn't listen to your heart. So again, I'm really grateful. And what I really want to get into today, because like Sara mentioned at the top of this, was talking a little bit about being an empath. So I would just love to see, by a show of hands, who here is an empath, feels like they identify with that. So I know I'm speaking to my people out here. Okay, amazing. Awesome. And so you all know this, but being an empath and walking the journey of being an empath, sometimes it's new, it's different. We walk a different way, we have a different swagger to us. And what I'm here to really just invite you into, because although it can be different, sometimes it can be challenging when we can feel so much. And at times, if we don't know how to manage this gift, if we don't know how to manage this superpower, it could actually start to backfire on us a little bit, and we could start feeling almost overloaded, and we start to feel overwhelmed by how much we feel, and we feel like we're picking up things that aren't ours. And so a beautiful question and practice to have in your journaling practice, and just in your daily lives, is asking, is this mine? That could go so far, because at times we can really start to, our veil is so thin. So we operate from this place that is very close to this like unity consciousness that sometimes gets hard on a polarity planet. So we start to confuse ourselves thinking that it is ours. We start to absorb things because we're doing it from a place of compassion, of wanting to help, of wanting to be of service, of feeling empathy for somebody or picking up energy from some other source. And what's interesting is there's a paradox within it, because we think that it's well-intentioned. We think that what we're doing is compassionate. But the truth is, when we absorb things that aren't ours, and when we are taking on things that are somebody else's, what we're doing is twofold. One is that we're really blocking our own selves, because we don't need to take anything that is not ours. And second is that the truth is that it's an illusion. Everyone is on their path. So no matter what you do to try to almost like save somebody, they still are on their journey. And if anything, they need to walk it on their own. Like, they need to find the solutions. And sometimes it's hard for us to allow someone to hit a point, like their breaking point, but often that's what people need. I would never take back any of my breaking points, ever. The people that broke my heart, all of the stories that I had, I'm like, thank you so much, greatest teachers ever, bow to you, because I found my power. And so it's an invitation for us to switch the narrative of what compassion is as an empath, and realizing the biggest way to have compassion for someone, the biggest way to love someone, is to know that they're strong too.
Okay, so I'd love to open up a few things on this point. I've been studying authentic listening and like queen codes, and learning that we as women, we want to provide all the time. We want to fix it, we want to provide. And that's actually not what many humans want. So I heard a few years ago, compassion, not empathy. Because empathy takes it on, but compassion is like, I'm holding space, but I'm not absorbing it. So if you guys want a way to maybe a mantra or something to spin on it, you realize, and I've been practicing this with my boys, not taking over, not trying to fix it, but just listening, and how heard the person feels and understood. In Siddhavedas, Dr. Naram would say, it's not actually love what people want most, it's to be understood. So that's that like line in. So if you guys take the notes. The other thing I'd love to add to this, how many people here have been in a car or a store and all of a sudden just felt ick? Right? Like, and then your mind goes, oh, this is about that thing or that other thing or that thing. Or how many of you, this has happened, where you do not like a guy, right? I don't like this guy at all. And then I get around him and I could feel sexual energy and think it had to do with me. I don't know if any of you guys have noticed this, but recently in my last few years of really understanding that I was just absorbing what was in the room and it wasn't mine to own. So just checking yourself when she said, ask, is this from me? When you're going into a room, you very well might be feeling, because I don't know if you guys have later where you're like, man, I shouldn't have done that. Why did I do that? Or why did I hang out with that guy? Or why did I say yes when I didn't? And then you feel later like, I don't even like him. So just checking, like just thinking, okay, how does this play in my life? Thanks, Monica.
Nuggets. I love that. I love the understood part too. It's so true. Like when someone sees us and recognizes us and we just feel heard and understood, that the power behind that is so big. And often we do feel like we need to have answers or we need to find solutions, and it's so much simpler than that. And I think that so often the most profound things are so simple, but because humans are complex, we think it has to be more complex. And it really doesn't. The simplest truths are usually the most profound and get overlooked. Like the same wisdom that has been around forever, that has worked so much. And sometimes we just overlook them in their simplicities, but it's just an invitation for us to really recognize the power in listening, the power of your presence. And when it comes to walking in the room and feeling these certain things, what I'd love to suggest and really invite you into is like really flipping the script on this, because there can be this narrative and this feeling of, okay, I'm absorbing this energy and I'm just taking it on and it feels overwhelmed. And I've been there. This is why I went down this rabbit hole of understanding how to overcome this. I used to get so tired. I used to feel so drained, and it would backfire because I'd be doing work that I love, but then afterwards I would be so kaput. So it was almost just like a stop and go method. And I was like, this can't be my story. I have to find solutions to this. And what I found were two things. A lot of people talk about protection, which I'll get into in a moment, but I just want to clarify before I want to get into protection, I want to go into this absorbing idea. So there's a difference, right, between absorbing and influencing the room. So I want to invite us into realizing when you walk into a room and you just feel energy, you're like, ooh, feels icky in here, or it feels like, I'm just gonna let my dog in 1 second.
I love this. So while she's doing that, what I practice when I come in, and she might say this, but energy through, heart out. She bet she might say this. Oh,
Go ahead.
the
She wanted to come in.
go ahead, go take it over.
Yeah, so it's okay. So if we're so powerful enough to feel energy in the room, we really get to utilize as that gift. We really get to utilize that as a superpower and be like, I am a genius to be able to walk into a room and see and feel the undercurrents of what's happening. So on the surface, it might be like, great, amazing party, but we can feel the undercurrents of, oh, like someone, the host definitely just got into a fight with their partner. Like I can feel something's up. Or I could just, well, maybe we can't pinpoint it exactly like that, but we just feel these undercurrents. So that is literally a huge superpower that we get to use to then influence the room. So if we're there, can we instead being like, let me absorb it, do the reverse and get bigger than it and start to bless the room? Because the reason we feel these different undercurrents is because we actually know what harmony feels like. We actually know what alignment feels like. We know what it feels like to be a clear channel. And so when we walk into a room and it's a little wobbly, of course, we're instantly going to feel it because we are tuning forks. So then we start to feel it because we're like, whoa, 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 this is, something's up here. And instead of being like, something's up here and it's overwhelming me, we have a superpower. We can be the blessing. We can get bigger than that circumstance. We get bigger than that room and send out the vibration of what harmony feels like, of what love feels like, of feeling like whatever is up, it's understood. I love that. Whatever is up, it's understood, to start to bless the room instead of feeling like like we get to own this superpower instead of it backfiring and owning us.
Yes. So when you're doing that, you're just imagining that you're blessing. So what is the physical thing that people do?
Yeah, so the physical thing that really works for me and my body, and the beautiful thing is the subconscious really believes and works in imagery. So imagery works, and I'm very corny. I'll admit it right now, I'm very corny. So what I do is going to be very corny, but it works tremendously, you know? So what I do is first, I feel my heart. And from that source, from that heart source, I literally imagine family almost like I'm a Care Bear and there's rainbows and freaking sparkles shooting off of me. And I imagine this huge tidal wave all around me. So a whole entire huge bubble all around me, and allow myself to be that frequency of just like pure love, pure joy, pure play. Something came through to me the other day and I wrote this down. I'm like, God created humans to be perfection in play.
Ooh, wait. Let's write this down. Everybody put it down. I'm such a big advocate of play. Like that's how I've manifested everything in my life. That's how I heal. I find the funny faster. Love this. Okay, say that again. God created humans.
God created humans to be perfection in play. And the cosmic joke that we all can be in on at this point is that it's our play. And we get to play whatever character we want to play. Truly. And especially in these worlds that we traverse and the work that we do, we're into the healing, we're ready for the shadow work, we're in all of these different spaces. We can't forget this element of play, because like Sara said, like to operate from a place of joy and play and manifest things, you're like, I manifested that with my joy. Like I met this person because I was so happy and gratitude that they were my homie, and now they are my mentors, are my friends now. And once that starts to happen, it's because you operated from this place, this frequency of joy, of radiance, where people are like, yo, what's up with you? Like, I need to be by you because you are a light. And we really get to bring it in, because this work can get serious. It can get serious quick. And when we bring in the play and the laughter and be like, oh my gosh, remember, like, we can laugh at some of the things we think. Like, I can't believe I thought cared what that person would think. Like, what a joke. Like, that's funny. Like, why would I care?
I talk about this all the time. 16 seconds. So Abraham Hicks says it's 17 seconds, I think, to change your energy. And Tony Robbins said something like he only gives him and his wife only give themselves 16 seconds and then they move on. And so now I'm like 16 seconds. Okay, where am I grateful for? And just switching the mindset. And then so gratitude is what allows grace to enter for miracles to unfold. It's powerful. I do want to say something I've done, and I didn't really know until later to understand. When I walk into a room, so I'm in prayer all the time. I'm so devoted. It's like constant conversations. If I'm quiet, I'm talking to God. And I will walk in, and first thing I say is, God, use me. Use my mouth, use my eyes, use my body, use my voice, use my ears, use my presence. So there's God love that, like, I will look at people and just start crying. And I don't know why. I'm like, wow, God really loves you. Alejandro's on this call. He was on a dance floor. And I turned around, looked at him. I was like, God loves you. And he just started getting all emotional. He's like, he does. I'm like, he does. And that's how we started our friendship. So the first thing is go, if you don't have divine, but inviting that to enter in, and setting the intention in prayer. But then the other thing is I unconditionally love even the homeless. You guys, many of you have seen me, like I'll get down on the streets in their cardboard boxes and hold them. And I unconditionally love them. Now, when you come in the room and you imagine you unconditionally love someone, I unconditionally love you. That's protection in itself. And then the other person's like, why does this person feel so good? I feel unconditionally love. And then what happens is they start feeling the unconditional love, which brings unconditional love back to me. And we're creating a vortex of one of the most powerful things in the world.
So beautiful. And honestly, it's a perfect segue into what I wanted to speak into, which is protection, which is, Sarah, like I couldn't have had a better setup. Because it took me a long time to get around this protection, because for the longest time it didn't work for me. And everyone was telling me to protect myself and to protect myself and to do these protection things. And it just didn't work. I felt paranoid and I still was drained. So I was like, what's up? This is not it. And I started to feel less in my power and more like I needed to like contain it. And so that's when I'm like, let me reverse this. Instead of protecting myself, let me amplify myself and be the blessing. That's the first thing that came in. And I'm like, that actually freaking worked, because now I'm powerful. And the thing that came through for me, protection, because I always heard the word protection and thought of armor and thought of shielding and thought of all of these things that made me feel closed off. It made me feel closed off from the gift that I have and from the very thing that I love, which is people. And so what I started to do was like, God is my protection. And if shielding is like this weaponized idea that I have, the greatest weapon, the greatest source, the greatest thing you could ever have to back you is exactly what Sarah just said, which is unconditional love. When you operate from love, that is your greatest weapon. That is your greatest advocate. That is what will actually allow you to feel the beauty of this world and not feel overcome by it. And so I really invite you, whatever you call it, I'm good on the word God, but I know a lot of people like whatever you want to call it, divine, unconditional love, universe, like you know what it is, that creative force that is like allowing you to breathe and loves you and has created you and everything, created the roses outside, created every grass blade, like that intelligence that is like love, creation, that I'm giving my small concerns up to that. And I'm like, you got my back. I don't need to protect myself when I operate from that place. I don't need to close myself down when I operate from that place, because that is what sources and fuels me and allows me to see that this is such a gift. This is literally a genius. And what people need more than ever these days is to feel. And we are master feelers. And so we invite people into the opportunity to feel something. And I'm on board for people crying on dance floors. Yes, I am on board for people crying in gratitude meditations. I am on board for people feeling so much joy and laughter that their stomach starts hurting and they fall to the ground. I am on board for such high emotion, because for too long we've shut them down. And I believe that's why empaths were sent here. I truly believe that we are angels to be like, feel this, it's okay. Feel this. This is actually great for you. All of them. Every feeling has an incredible message behind it, an incredible gift. And so we are permission slips for people to feel and feel the magnitude of what it is that they feel so they can get the message. Even if it's 17 seconds, even if it's fear, fear doesn't have to be wrong and demonized. What if it's just a concern for you to do something new? That's not a bad thing. All of the worry, doubt, all of those, like, what if we just turn into like, I'm concerned and I'm going to do something about it now.
I love this. So, just to clarify, there are many moments where it's longer than 17 seconds and I give myself grace. Like, it's sometimes the little things that we judge, but the other ones I welcome. And what I realized on the plane from Europe, I was writing down in a miracle journal all the hardest moments in my life, like catastrophic, and what it brought me. So when you're in this moment now and you're feeling the fear and you're worried and you're going down the path of I'm going to die alone with a million cats on my porch, right? You just start looking back at how much love is given you, how much you've gained every time that someone transitioned from your life. Oh my gosh, so much more came in. There's this scene of teddy bear where Jesus is holding the teddy bear. Have you seen this, Monica? Yes. And he has a tiny teddy bear, or the little girl has a tiny teddy bear. And she's like, I don't want to give it up. And he's like, you have to let go so I can give you what you've called in. Right. So just remembering these in the moments of fear, and also thinking about the other thing is like, how many times in my life did I worry that the roof was going to cave in, and it never did. Never did. I have some questions from online. And guys, any of these quotes or whatever in the chats, please keep entering it. May I give you one of the questions?
Oh, please. Yeah, let's do it.
So Oliver wrote in yesterday and he said, when someone has too much energy, how do you not feel their energy, and how do you get it out? So once you've absorbed it, I think you went over like how to not feel it, but also what happens when it gets in? Then what do we do? Because it does.
Oh, that's so good. Yeah, it does. It does happen. One is really recognizing the point where you picked it up if you can. So like, is this mine? Where did I pick this up from? And then here's the thing, and it's going to seem like I'm being hypocritical, but I'm not, because this is just like, it's never as simple as it looks sometimes. There is a piece of you that it's yours. That's why you picked it up. And we get to own that part. There is a piece of it that is yours, which is why you picked it up.
Oh, I want everybody let that land. That's the difference between your magician and like responsible or victim. You played into it somehow.
And so we have some time, and I would love to actually give a little bit of a practice that could be powerful for this, because it allows you to recognize that, take responsibility, and then do something about it. And it'll take us a few minutes, but I think it's worth the practice, so you can have this for life.
Please. And then we have another question in the chat for after. Do I need my pen and paper for this?
No, but you ideally, actually, just to simplify it, let's do pen and paper. Yeah, let's do pen and paper just to simplify it. If you have something by you, that would be amazing. And so hopefully you can still hear me. I'm going to go into just some prerequisites. So when you're doing this, you have to be radically honest, and you have to look at yourself from 3 different perspectives. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to drill down the moment in time where something specific happened, where you picked something up. And it doesn't have to be like the exact moment, but you're like, okay, whatever. I went to Whole Foods and I was fine. And then I got on the phone and then with X, Y, and Z. And then after the phone call, I felt drained. So like, okay, so what happened? I was like, okay, I was on this phone call, right? Maybe even words were exchanged. You're just like, oh, like that hit me, like something happened in that, or you were somewhere. So like you do your best to like bring yourself to a specific time and place, an actual memory where something happened, where you've noticed like state changed. I picked something up, right? So from there, just identify how you feel. So it's like, okay, I feel triggered. I felt frustrated. I feel disrespected. I feel overwhelmed, whatever it is. If you can identify the feeling, write that down. So if you have a memory right now, what was the feeling that came up afterwards? And often when we do this, we start to feel that feeling again because it's there, right? Especially if you're doing this like actively after something happened. So I need you to do, this is something you cannot skip. What I need you to do is I need you to get up, and I know you can all do this because we did this at the top of the call. I need you to get up and I need you to just like shake it off. So if you're in it right now, you're like, oh yeah, that felt so frustrating. I need you to get up and just shake it off. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. Woo! Da, 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 da. Shake it off. Taylor Swift that. Beautiful. After you shake it off, I want you to, ideally, if you could sit in a different seat, you could sit in a different seat. But if not, that's okay too. You're in a different state now. You shaked it off. I want you to imagine and journal and see or feel in your heart, okay, if I were my own guardian angel and I saw what was happening in that circumstance and I saw me, what would you see? What was your body language like from the point of view of a guardian angel? Maybe you're like, yeah, you know what? I'm looking at Monica from this guardian angel and her shoulders are down. I can see she has tears in her eyes. Maybe she's just like, she's frowning. Her eyebrows are kind of caved in. Her body language is off. And then I want you to imagine that you can send that self a gift. What is that version of you from a guardian angel perspective need the most right now? And it has to be something that you already know you have. So it can't be like a hug from somebody else. It can't be external. It has to be, she needs to feel understood. She gets to feel compassion for herself. She needs to feel play, be reminded of play. Maybe patience. Maybe she needs some patience. It's out of her control. Everything from up here, everything's working out. She just needs to remember patience. And from this point, we're going to close our eyes together and we're going to send that energy of that feeling to that moment in time. So if you're with me on this, just close your eyes, come into your heart. I always love to put my hand on my heart for this. I'm going to take 3 deep breaths together. Exhaling it out. And filling up your entire vessel with this feeling that you've declared that your guardian angel is gifting over. Filling yourself up. Filling yourself up with this beautiful resource. From the top of your head to the tips of your toes. And you could say this resource out loud. You could say patience, 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 compassion, play, whatever it is. And allowing yourself to feel, amplify this feeling, saying it out loud, letting every cell in your body to start to vibrate to this frequency that you've declared, allowing your heart to get bigger and bigger, knowing that this is your truth, this is the gift behind it, this is what you need in this moment, filling yourself up with it. And as you sense it in your body and you feel it, I want you to amplify it even more. Like you could turn up the dial, like you turn up the dial of a volume and just turn up this feeling, amplify it even more. Every cell in your body, every fiber in your being filling up with this frequency, with this feeling. And I want you to imagine that you can now shoot this feeling over to that past timeline. Surrounding that past timeline with this presence, with this energy. And perhaps you can even see your past self start to feel this energy, start to pick up her head, start to feel a presence beyond herself. And when you're ready, you can start to fade out that scene. Fading out that scene. And from this place, I want you to imagine a future scenario where something similar happens. You get that phone call, or you enter a room, or something similar happens, because we know that the future is waiting for you and the circumstance might show up again. But from this place, recognizing whatever that scenario is, seeing it playing out. Maybe you get the phone call, you walk into the room, but allowing yourself to imagine it happening now in real time. Where are you? What's happening? Start to see it in your mind's eye. And start to connect with this feeling of how you will now handle a similar situation. What is the new pathway? What is the new way? And seeing yourself respond in a new way. Maybe you laugh it off. Maybe you respond with compassion. Maybe you don't even hear it anymore. Maybe you don't even be fazed by it anymore. Just seeing that new response, that new pathway. And declare now that you have this new choice, you have this new pathway. Feeling proud of yourself for choosing a new way. And thanking yourself for giving yourself what you needed. Because you always can. You are the source of your own supply. And when you're ready, you can start to feel the temperature of the room, or start to feel your fingertips, start to feel your body. Take a few deep breaths, and with all the time in the world, start to come back to this call, come back to this screen, this beautiful tribe of women.
Ooh. That was emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else have tears? I felt a lot on that one. What a powerful practice to also take us to the future, because in the shaman world, I've been taught that everything's patterns. And it's similar to what you read even in scripture, like energy gets into our body and stuck and it keeps poking and poking and poking. One of the best ways to alchemize this energy is to catch yourself in the pattern. That's what she just did. She forward moved us to the moment where it will happen again in some form. And now your mind and subconscious is ready. And so when you take the new loving right action, you actually alchemize that pattern. You create a new pathway from that moment on. That energy gets to move out. Now you might get another practice. Maybe it takes 2, 3, 5, 10. But each time you're minimizing this trauma, this energy that was in your body that was connected to a story of unworthiness or unlovable trust, right? Like there's a lack of trust there. Like, why did I do this? Well, maybe it was trust. I didn't trust. I wasn't trusting. And it comes from that childhood trauma. So I gave us a wand that helps us to forward move and to alchemize that pattern. Wow. I felt it. Thank you. I have some questions that are coming in, or one that you're.
Let's hit them. Let's do it. Thank you all for doing that too. Thank you so much. I'm honored to lead that and give you all that tool. So take it with you and let's do some rapid fire questions. I'm ready.
Yeah, I really felt that. It's the power of manifestation too. Like the doing visuals is we all know it. We've heard it from sports players. Like it's powerfully potent. Still going. Okay. So Rachel says, thank you. One more. I've heard this talked about a lot, but how do you personally distinguish between intuition and personal projection? Example, when you feel something in a room that feels off, etc.
Yeah, it's a beautiful question. And honestly, for me, it feels like really checking in with yourself about being honest if this is a projection, like being honest if you're just bleeding. Is this from a wound that hasn't scarred up yet? Being honest about that. And that's okay. It's okay, but we get to be honest with ourselves. And the intuition versus projections is I'm reading intuition more so like picking up on the energy room, right? So picking up the energy of the room, like, is this a projection or am I really picking something else up on? And the best way to know is developing a relationship with how you feel. So you know your baseline frequency. When you know how you feel and you operate, you'll know when it's off instantly. Like we get to really build relationships with every part of ourselves. So speaking to the emotions, speaking to your heart, speaking to your intuition, speaking to your wounds, speaking to your projections, developing a deep relationship with yourself, because once you understand your baseline, and that means all of you, right? Like your baseline frequency, the things that still get to be healed, you're on the journey of, like, once you understand that relationship, it becomes much easier for you to identify if this is someone, if what someone's doing is just because they're mirroring something in you that you get to heal, or it's just not your vibe, and that's okay. What would you say to that, Sarah? I'm curious what you would say.
Yeah, so there's the first thing is thank you, Sola, for helping to teach me. So I always use prayer because I think it's powerful. So whether it's prayer or like self-intention, and I would pray for, like guidance, but I learned from Sola how to get very specific. So you can pray for discernment. Whether it's your higher self or for me, it's Yeshua. Like I'm praying right now for discernment or wisdom. Please show me, and then be willing to receive when it comes. Because not all of us are like, oh man, I don't want to leave that guy. What? I don't want that discernment. Right. And I think also when I think of, so then the second part of that also, okay, so you'll get messages, but stillness, silence, and solitude. Write this down. I'd have an alarm in your phone. It's a must. I love, Monica, you were talking about your God walks. It's survival for me. It doesn't matter how much is on my plate. I don't care what's going on in my life. I have to have a God walk. And I put your phone down and listen. Just listen to what comes through. I listen to angel sounds. Milan, I love her. And that really, because music puts you into a frequency, allows me to really hear and then process the emotion at the same time. Energy will be moving while you're moving, and then energy can come in. So then you can be showed, oh, wow, okay, this had a lot to do with my past trauma. And I actually poked the person and didn't realize by the thing I said or the thing that I did, how was I responsible in it? Now, for those of us speaking to experience of being in relationships with narcissists, because empaths, like a moth to the flame, a narcissist will pick you up and we go to them. So that's where it gets really confusing, because they do it in such a way that it's slow and it's pinpointed at our greatest weakness. And we start to just be like, oh my gosh, what sock do I put on? Oh, I'm such a bad girl. Oh, I did things wrong. There's not a lot of, so you look for the signs in the person as well. You know, do they apologize? Do they, you know, how are they showing up when you feel hurt? Do they have that compassion they've been asking for? So anything on that subject, like, because that's where it really gets tricky sometimes. If we're, whether it's with a business worker or a relationship, there are people who have a lot of trauma where this part of their brain is shut down. And they can look like an empath, they can walk like one, they can do great things like Santa Claus, but they're actually mentally not fully there to be able to give what you need. What do we do then? Or what do you suggest for that?
It's so real. And I think the biggest support you can get from off the gate is talking to someone about it. And this is why these containers are so important, because often we talk ourselves out of it. And it's so important to talk with other women who've experienced it to pick up the signs, because like you mentioned, Sarah, sometimes they're so subtle and sometimes they actually seem spiritual. Sometimes they'll be like, well, radical responsibility, which, like, I'm all about radical responsibility. And in partnership, it takes, you know, a little massaging and empathy and compassion. And so I think that honestly, like, if you start to just have questions, or if something starts to come up for you and you're just like, I'm just unsure, like, I just don't feel like I've used to feel. As soon as you start to not feel the way that you normally do, like the magnificentness that you do, like, speak to a sister who's been down that road, because there's no shame in it, and they'll be able to help you identify so much quicker than when we're on our own, so much quicker than we're on our own. It'll take us years to pick it up. It could, it won't have to, but it could.
Very important. Also, like, getting yourself out of the situation for a minute, shaking it off, go do that walk, go do that dance, go do that prayer, go do that meditation, and ask again for clarity. Because it can, even when you're talking to the sisters, like I was talking to the sisters for years, and it was still so hard to see, because you end up in a trauma bond. So just notice. The other thing is write it down, start writing it. This was one of the most powerful practices. By a fire, I asked God, show me so I remember, because I have a memory thing. And I pages of all the things my partner was doing and I had done. And I looked back when I was done, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even remember all of this. This is not good. And it's usually always your fault. like, oh, you did it, you made it happen, you did this. So just start, you know, you can research the signs, yeah, but go clear it out. You're in a trauma bond cycle, you're getting a high from it. And that's with, you know, it could be situations, you keep going to the same place, you don't feel good later. What is that? What's serving you in it? Why do you keep allowing it? So asking a lot of questions with yourself.
It's a big one.
Garen Jones just recently said, I know we love Garen. Don't we love Garen? Everybody love Garen? He's like, Sarah, stop abandoning yourself. Shit. Because
That's
I thought
hard.
I was loving people by give. And then I was letting go. I wasn't trusting. When I don't trust, I'm abandoning myself, right? So just if you can come up with mantras that help you to remember your worthiness and who you are. She's only got like 2 minutes left. This is the last few seconds. If there's a burning question, put it in. Also, where can we find you? How do we play with you? What do you need right now? Can we blast you with an intention or a prayer to serve you?
Wow. Yes, I'll totally take it up on it. I'm gonna drop something in the chat. I literally don't, I'm not kidding. I say I love people. So I'm gonna drop in the chat a link if you feel called to jump on a call with me. I'd love to hear about what you are creating. So You'll see a form just so I get to know you a little bit, and then I'd love to jump on a call with you if you feel like there's synergy here. So there's that. And then a prayer. Oh my gosh, I'll take a prayer. Okay, so for me, I am in full-blown creation mode on so many levels, and I'm really dismantling the fact that I used to have this belief that you can only do one thing, and I just don't operate that way. I'm literally a lightning bolt that needs to do so many things. So if you could just pray for me in my creation mode and my just wild nature of just being like, all of this is coming through, and who am I to stop it? And just bless me with the new belief system that yes, I can offer so many things because I'm blessed and I get to bless more people with all of that. So that would be my prayer that you hold for me.
Rub those hands together, blast it out, and just see her as, yes, I can. And it's coming in. God is parting waters. Manifestations are coming true with joy and pleasure and play. Yeah. I saw you like hopscotch skipping. It's like, I got this, I got that, and I got this. Because there's people watching who didn't see the link, right? They're going to be on YouTube.
Okay.
Later. How can we Care Bear Hearts? I love that. Oh, yes. We'll get
I know. Rainbow Blast. Yes.
Yeah.
My tribe.
So it's Monica Adams Instagram.
Yes. It's Monica Adams on Instagram. And the link is heartledleaders.co/Godspeed, because that's how we operate at Godspeed, baby. God's timing, not mine.
Yes. I love that. And she does have like a $99 special going on. I'm just going to drop that in there.
I
so
do.
Instagram, $99 is amazing. So I love you, everybody. If you can unmute, we're going to do the tradition, and in Siddhaveda, in this practice, we say, I love you and I'm with you, but you can say what feels in your heart. Monica, everybody unmute. How do I get you all unmuted? Unmute. I want to hear your voices. Feel that frequency. Anna, unmute yourself, woman. Alejandro, if any of you else can, I know some camera people can't. All right. We love you. I love you.
Love you.
And
I love you.
Grateful for you.
I'm with you.
I'm with
Love
you.
I'm
I
with
love
you.
you. Grateful for you.
Grateful. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm grateful. Thank you.
oh my gosh, before we hang up, one important thing, y'all. Fuel is launching. This is the pre-party of Fuel, which is my 3-month program for women. We're still enrolling. So if you're watching this now and you want to join about health, wealth, happiness, connection to God, increasing your income, more display of your life, text us, sister. Love you guys. Bye.
Love you. Bye.
Ciao, fam.